Hello students, welcome to our channel SES. In the last class, I have discussed digestion. I have completed nutrition, autotrophic nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition and digestion in human beings. Today, we'll discuss about the stages of tooth decay. Our tooth has a hardest white material called enamel. When this beneath this enamel, there is a yellowish substance called dentine. Okay, whenever you eat some chocolates or sugars or anything you have, you don't brush it. If we don't brush properly twice a day, what is going to happen? It will stick on to our tooth, isn't it? That is called plaque. Plaque is a sticky material which stays on the teeth, and if it is not brushed properly, it is not removed. This plaque will enhance bacterial activity. When bacteria is multiplied, what is going to happen? The sugars we consume, let it be sweets or chocolates or whatever it might be, if we consume more sugars like that, this bacteria which has multiplied due to plaque, this is going to be converted into acids. This acid will erode the hardest substance. You can observe in the picture, this will erode, that is, it will damage this hardest substance, enamel. This is called enamel decay. First, you can observe the white spots over here. This is there in your textbook better. Here, this is the enamel decay. So, when this enamel is eroded, what is the beneath substance? Dentin. Now, dentin, it starts decaying. Later, it is after this decays, later it is the involvement of pulp, and once this decays, it leads to abscess formation, which ultimately it will result into tooth loss. Okay, this can be asked in the form of picture-based questions can be asked. So I have explained it in detail. You can write question answers for these questions. Next, coming to important topic, respiration. What do you mean by respiration? I told you, breathing is mechanical process. We take in air and give out air. We take in oxygen and we give out carbon dioxide. This is a mechanical process. Why I am calling this is mechanical process? Because no energy is used here. While respiration, it utilizes oxygen. That is, oxidation reaction is occurring here. So we are utilizing oxygen to break down complex substances or compounds into simpler ones. And from here, energy ATP is generated through this process, and this ATP is required to give off energy to different cells so that they can perform different functions. That is called respiration. Respiration is a process of breaking complex bonds of complex substances within the cells that leads to release of energy. The energy, it is, what is the unit to measure energy here? Kilocalories. Okay. Now for this, we'll conduct an activity. This is an activity done to see whether what we have, what is the byproduct of respiration? Carbon dioxide. What is the byproduct of photosynthesis? Oxygen. Here we are performing this activity to see how much of carbon dioxide is released. Is that more, or the atmospheric carbon dioxide is more? For this experiment, we will take two test tubes. You can observe it is there, this activity, it is there in your textbook beta. You take two test tubes. In two test tubes, you fill these two test tubes with, see, observe this figure, two test tubes you have chosen. You fill these test tubes with lime water. Lime water. What is this lime water? Calcium hydroxide, already we have done an experiment using that. Calcium hydroxide, okay, this is colorless, okay. This we'll take lime water and you take a straw and blow air into this. And in this, what is going to happen? You take a syringe and blow this air into this. Here you are blowing. Here air is already present in the syringe and you are blowing, you are you are pumping that syringe so that air enters into this. This also consists of lime water. So what is going to happen? This carbon dioxide is released in both. Yes. What is the reaction? What is the question here? What is the question asked? Do the same react similarly? The action over in this, consider this A and consider this is A, this is B. The action in the B test tube, it takes immediately, because when you blow out, when we breathe out, the amount of carbon dioxide we have breathed out is more when compared to the amount of carbon dioxide present in the air or atmosphere. This action, what is the action here? What is the reaction here? When carbon dioxide is passed into the lime water, it turns lime water milky. That is called calcium carbonate is formed, isn't it? It turns lime water milky. So this action is immediate. This occurs immediately, and this occurs slowly. This shows that the amount of carbon dioxide what we have breathed out is more compared to the amount of carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere. That is the activity done over here. This we'll discuss later. Now, coming to the next one, there are two types of respirations. What are they? Aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. This you might have been learning from your lower classes too. Aerobic respiration, the respiration which occurs in the presence of oxygen is called aerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence of oxygen. So, what is the major difference? You look at this figure. This figure is very, very, very important. This figure is very important. So, look at this figure. Here, I told you, what is respiration? Utilization of oxygen and breaking the carbohydrates or complex substances into simpler one. Breaking the complex substances into simpler one. Here, glucose is 6-carbon molecule. In the cytoplasm, this is broken down into, or this is converted into 3-carbon pyruvate. 3-carbon pyruvate. What is happening here? C6H12O6 is glucose, isn't it? In cytoplasm, this is broken down into 3-carbon pyruvate. Pyruvate is 3-carbon molecule. Okay, this is pyruvate or pyruvic acid, whatever, pyruvate or pyruvic acid. So, 2 molecules of pyruvate are released over here. And also energy is released. Now, the next step, in mitochondria, in the presence of oxygen, this pyruvate is broken down into carbon dioxide and energy is released. That is broken down into carbon dioxide and energy is released. How much of energy is released? Here, 38 ATP are generated, which will release 686 kilocalories of energy. Got it? Glucose, which is hexose sugar, 6-carbon compound. This is broken to 2 pyruvate molecules. Where does this occur? This is very important. Where does this occur? In cytoplasm. Yes? This two molecules of pyruvate, each molecule of pyruvate in mitochondria utilizing oxygen, oxidation reaction occurs in mitochondria. This is converted into carbon dioxide, water is released and energy is released. It generates 38 ATP. ATP is adenosine triphosphate, which will give 686 kilocalories of energy. This is important. So this occurs in mitochondria in the presence of oxygen, and this is called aerobic respiration. This is aerobic respiration because it occurs in the presence of oxygen. So it is called aerobic respiration. As it has, this ATP is considered as energy currency. It is considered as a fuel. It is considered as fuel to the body. So because it is providing that much of energy. So mitochondria is called powerhouse of the cell. That is the reason why it is called powerhouse of the cell. Now coming to anaerobic respiration, in the absence of oxygen in microorganisms such as, or in fungus such as yeast, this pyruvate is converted into two carbon molecule, that is ethanol. Ethanol is alcohol. Ethanol is alcohol. C2H5OH. OH, it is alcohol. It is converted into ethanol. Carbon dioxide is released and energy is released. Here only 2 ATP molecules are generated, which will give 50 kilocalories of energy. So less energy over here. This is in absence of oxygen. So this is called anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic in absence of oxygen. This occurs in yeast. While when we are performing heavy exercises, when it is in a gym or when you are performing heavy exercises, what is going to happen? Lot of oxygen is utilized by the body. So the muscles, there is lack of oxygen in the muscles. When there is lack of oxygen in the muscles, it results in incomplete oxidation. Whereas aerobic respiration is complete oxidation. When you are performing heavy exercises, when muscles don't receive proper oxygen, it results in incomplete oxygen. So what is happening here due to lack of oxygen in the muscles? This pyruvate is converted into 3 carbon molecule again. It is lactic acid. It is lactic acid. This results in, this lactic acid is responsible for cramps in your muscles. This is responsible for cramps in your muscles. So I have explained 3. In the presence of oxygen, what is going to happen? In the absence of oxygen, what happens? And incomplete oxidation. In the presence of oxygen, it is complete oxidation. In the absence, it is not, oxidation doesn't occur, isn't it? Here it is incomplete oxidation. 3 I have explained. This is what is happening in the muscles. Look at the picture. Is it visible? Is it visible? Check it if it is visible. Glucose, 1 molecule of glucose in cytoplasm, it undergoes glycolysis or glycolysis or glycolysis. You can say lysis means break. It is broken down into 2 molecules of pyruvate or pyruvic acid, and in the absence or in lack of oxygen, it gives lactic acid and 2 ATP. How much ATP is generated over here too? It is 2 ATP molecules. 2 ATP is generated. Okay. Now coming to this, For this fermentation reaction, this occurs in yeast. For this, we'll have an activity. Take a test tube. Take a test tube. Take fresh juice or sugar solution in the test tube. Fit this test tube with a cork such that it has only one hole, and place one glass tube into this and place the free end of other glass tube into this. This is fresh juice, and in this you are adding some yeast, so that to see the fermentation reaction. This activity is done to see the fermentation reaction in yeast. Juice, sugar solution or juice plus yeast. Yeast is added. So it will perform anaerobic respiration. Yes, you know that. Now a glass tube is passed here, and free end of glass tube is passed to onto other test tube, which consists of, again, lime water. When I said lime water, you know what is going to happen. What is the reaction? What happens? So this performs anaerobic respiration. Which gas is released over here? Yes, it is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide and released, and this turns lime water to milky, because calcium carbonate is formed. It will turn, because it due to this respiration called anaerobic respiration, it gives of carbon dioxide, which will turn this lime water to milky. Okay. Now, what are the products formed in the process of fermentation? Here, what is going to happen? This yeast, it undergoes anaerobic respiration, isn't it? What are the products formed here? Here, carbon dioxide is released. Here, it is ethanol. Here, it is ethanol. So, products of, if at all it is asked, the question is asked, what are the products of fermentation? It is ethanol and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide and ethanol. Ethanol is alcohol, right? It is alcohol. Now, this is what I have given. You look into this. This is maltose. I have discussed about monosaccharides, disaccharides and polysaccharides. This is maltose is disaccharide. Okay, this is in the which is the biocatalyst used to break this maltose? Yes, maltase. Maltase. I told you for enzymes we add the suffix ase. Maltase. It is broken down into two glucose molecules. The glucose molecule, again, in absence of oxygen, that is broken into ethanol. Ethanol and carbon dioxide is released. Okay, this is a fermentation reaction. Okay. Now, coming to the differences of aerobic and anaerobic respiration, this is important question. This is important, it can be asked. Differentiations of, I told you earlier, aerobic and anaerobic respiration, photosynthesis and respiration. These questions can be asked. I have given this difference here. You can take a screenshot. You can take a screenshot of it. Aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. The first definition, what is aerobic respiration? It occurs in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration, it occurs in the absence of oxygen. So it doesn't require oxygen here. Where does this aerobic respiration occur? Location in cytoplasm and in mitochondria. While anaerobic respiration occurs only in cytoplasm. Anaerobic respiration occurs in only cytoplasm. As this occurs in mitochondria, it releases more ATP, 38 ATP, so it is called powerhouse, I told you. The end products of aerobic respiration are carbon dioxide and water, while this it is fermentation. Just now we have seen ethanol. ethanol and carbon dioxide. For both the byproducts is carbon dioxide, and this one is fermentation. Due to fermentation, alcohol is formed. So large amount of energy is liberated, yes. 686 kilocalories of energy is liberated, while here small amount of energy is liberated. Why? Only 2 ATP is generated in this reaction in anaerobic respiration. While aerobic respiration, the respiratory materials are completely oxidized. Already I have discussed. Here it is incomplete oxidation. Okay, incomplete oxidation. How many ATP are generated here in aerobic? 38. Here only 2 are generated. All this I have discussed. We are writing this in the form of differentiations. Write down the equation, the balancing equation, and everything it is given. So C6H12O6 plus 6O2, because this is oxidation reaction in the presence of oxygen. It gives 6 carbon dioxide and 6 water molecules. And what is the energy given here? What is the energy generated? 686 kilocalories. While here it is glucose C6H12O6. In the absence of oxygen, don't write oxygen over here. So 2 molecules of ethanol are released in 2 carbon dioxide, 2 CO2 plus 50 kilocalories. Okay. Now, as I told you, this ATP is considered as a fuel or energy currency in our body, in living organisms. This ATP, it is adenosine. ATP is, yes, adenosine triphosphate, isn't it? So, this is ATP. What does that mean? Triphosphate means 3 phosphate ions are attached to this adenosine, isn't it? So, in the presence of light, so light energy is used to convert the ADP to ATP. This light energy, what is the equation here? ADP, ATP. This is adenosine diphosphate plus 1 phosphate ion is added. That occurs utilizing light, then it is converted into ATP. So energy is utilized here. So this is endothermic reaction. Endothermic reaction. Energy is utilized here. Got it? Okay. So to convert ADP to ATP, it is in the presence of light. Light is required. That is endothermic reaction. To give out energy, I told you 38 ATP, they give 686 kilocalories of energy, right? To give out this energy, the end or the last phosphate ion that is released, and this, when this is removed, it gives off energy. Okay, and again what is happening? This is ADP now. This is the cycle. It occurs like this. This is ADP now. So this reaction is exothermic. This reaction is exothermic as it is release of energy. Got it? Did you understand? Yes, better. Did you understand? Okay. So this is what it is given in your textbook too. This is what I have explained. Now coming to respiration in plants. Respiration in human beings, we have specialized structures that I am going to discuss after this topic. Respiration in plants. When gaseous exchange, something to occur, a gaseous exchange should occur. Oxygen should be taken in and carbon dioxide is to be given out. This process generally it is simple through simple diffusion. You have seen in the, when I have shown the cross section of leaf, underneath the leaf you have seen that there is in the spongy mesophyll you have stomata. Gaseous exchange occurs over there. Okay, does that occur only in the leaf? No, in few, for example in root hairs too. Roots have fine structures called root hairs that I have shown when I have shown transpiration, that process, absorption of water. Root hairs, they increase the absorption rate. I have shown the figure. This root hairs also, they help in absorbing the oxygen from the soil, that is in the form of when it is in the water, it helps in absorption. So in roots absorb air, oxygen trapped in root hairs, it reaches other cells and carbon dioxide is expelled out. This is also by simple diffusion. Okay. While in stems, herbaceous stems, like I told you, herbs, kotimira, I have given coriander, the example, right? Even in stems, this gaseous exchange will occur because stomata is available in that stems too. While in hard woody stems, like a tree trunk which has a bark, in that there are specialized structures called lenticels. Through the lenticels, this gaseous exchange occurs. Lenticels are responsible for the gaseous change in this hard woody stems. Okay, this is the respiration in plants. When does this respiration occur? In the night, oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide is given out. Whatever carbon dioxide is expelled out, that is utilized for preparation of food in the day. Got it? This is a process in plants. Now coming to the differences between photosynthesis and respiration. Photosynthesis I have explained clearly. Now it is respiration I have explained clearly. We'll see that. Where does photosynthesis occur? Photosynthesis occurs in plants which have green pigment called chlorophyll, because this green pigment chlorophyll is responsible for absorption of light. Only when light is absorbed, that you know, all the process I have explained. So it occurs in plants as well as some blue-green algae. Respiration, it occurs in all living organisms. Yes, it is important, it is essential. Even when you are sleeping, the process respiration occurs, isn't it? It is a continuous process. This photosynthesis, it takes place in the presence of sunlight. The definition of photosynthesis, I told you, photo is light. Synthesis of food in the presence of light is called photosynthesis, I told you. Now respiration, it takes place day and night. It is independent of light. Whether you have light or not, it takes place. Okay. It is dependent on light. It is independent of light. What are the raw materials or elements required for photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide and water. While in respiration, what is given out and what is taken in? Carbon dioxide is given out, that is expelled out, and oxygen is taken in. Light energy is fixed as chemical energy. What is the chemical reaction occurring over here? At the beginning I told you, these are the chemical reactions. One is reduction reaction and one is oxidation reaction. Here, light energy is converted into chemical energy. Here, chemical energy in carbohydrates, it is released. The energy is released. That is the next process. The energy, what it is, the carbohydrates, they form glucose, all that. And after that, that is broken down. And what is given? It is released in the form of energy. ATP is generated and released in the form of energy. Oxygen is liberated and carbon dioxide is utilized. Opposite happens over respiration. It is anabolic process and it is catabolic process. Anabolic, both are metabolic. Metabolism, it is the reactions that occur in the body, that are called metabolic processes. Metabolic processes can be two types, anabolic and catabolic. Anabolic, when simpler molecules are combined to form complex, that is called anabolic. When complex substances are broken down into simpler, that is called catabolic. What is happening in photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide, that is in organic forms, carbon dioxide and oxygen are combined to form carbohydrates. What happens in respiration? What happens in respiration? Glucose, it is broken down in the presence of oxygen that is broken down and it is giving out energy and carbon dioxide. So it is catabolic. The equations you know. If you write this much, you'll fetch full marks, 4 out of 4. Okay, children. Now coming to respiration in animals, this process occurs in depending upon the complexity of the organism. The process of respiration also it differs. Coming to unicellular organism, I told you in first class itself, unicellular organisms, as they are in direct contact with the environment, whatever it is performed, let it be like intake of food, or that is nutrition, or let it be a gaseous exchange, or discarding the waste material or undigested food, that is through simple diffusion. So in unicellular organisms such as amoeba, you can see the picture of amoeba over here. I told you it has irregular shape, vacuole and all this, isn't it? So in amoeba it is simple diffusion. Respiration occurs, the gaseous exchange occurs through simple diffusion. Oxygen is taken in, that is, it is in direct contact with the environment. Oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide is given out. While coming to animals that live inside the soil, when the soil is moist, for example, earthworms, the skin should be, it is also moist so that the gaseous exchange takes place easily through skin. Okay, even in amphibians like frog, the gaseous exchange, it occurs through slimy skin. Now, in aquatic organisms, you can see this picture. We'll see an activity to know the respiratory rate of this aquatic animals. You can see the picture. Can zoom in. Can you see this figure? See, this is fish, right? Behind the eye of the fish, you can find gill slits. So this entire thing, this is called operculum. This is the mouth. This is the mouth of the fish. Why I am stressing about this, we'll discuss in the activity. So the gills are the specialized organs over here for gaseous exchange in the fish. Okay, coming to insects like grasshopper or cockroach or housefly, they have tiny holes. Called spiracles. They have tiny holes called spiracles. And these are connected to tubes called trachea, through which the gaseous exchange takes place, the respiration takes place. While in higher organisms like human beings, this occurs, the respiratory system is through lungs. The entire thing is through lungs. We have lungs. Okay, the respiration occurs through lungs. See, whatever is the gaseous exchange, what we have discussed earlier, that occurs at the alveolar level, even in the human beings, alveolar level or at the tissue level. We'll see that in detail. At that place, the tissue, whatever the organ is, specific organ is designed for gaseous exchange, it should be one layered, single layered, so that the gaseous exchange takes place easily. If at all it is double layer or triple layer, simple diffusion, is it possible? It should penetrate 2 or 3 more layers, isn't it? No, it becomes difficult. So that should be simpler. For example, this is alveoli. Okay, this is single layered, and this is the capillaries. It is also single layered. So the gaseous exchange takes place from here to here. Got it? So that is simple diffusion. As they are very delicate, to protect that, we have the nasal passage. We have some passages to protect them, because these are very essential where the actual gaseous exchange occurs. Okay, got it. Why do we need nasal passages, or other living organisms which are high developed organisms require nasal passages or any passages? This is the reason. Okay. Now, coming to this is an activity. If at all you have an aquarium, or you have a chance to observe fish carefully, you observe it, you observe the breathing. What is the activity here? Observe the fish in the aquarium. They open and close their mouth and gill slit and opercula, I have shown that, behind their eyes, and also open and close. When mouth is opened and closed, even the gills open and close. Are the timings of both in coordinated manner? Yes, they both coordinate. Both during breathing, fish opens the mouth and closes the mouth. Also the operculum or the gill slit, it is opened and closed. That is in coordination with the opening and closure of the mouth. Okay, now what is the question asked? Count the number of times the fish opens and closes its mouth in a minute. Why it is called? Why it is asked? Why the question is asked to? Why is the question asked like that? To count the open and closing of mouth in a minute. Why is that given in a minute? Because when you take in oxygen or give out carbon dioxide, okay, this process is breathing, right? That is how much oxygen you take in and give out, that is calculated per minute. That is called respiratory rate. The number of times you take in oxygen and give out, intake and give out, that is once. Okay, how many times you perform that in 1 minute is considered respiratory rate. In human beings, it is 12 to 20. It is a range. Exactly, it doesn't be the same, beta. It is a range. It is 12 to 20 times per minute. Per minute. In a minute, how many times you are taking in and giving out. That you need to do it for a fish. That is the reason why I have told you to observe carefully if you have a chance to. So, it is not the same for all the fishes. Fish is one variety, different varieties of fishes we call. It is not the same for all the fishes. Some fish may do it faster, some may do it slower, it depends. For example, goldfish, it seems its respiratory rate is 100 times per minute, more than ours, isn't it? Normally, our respiratory rate is 12 to 20 times per minute. But goldfish, it performs 100 times per minute, it seems. Why you need to calculate this? To observe that the amount of, where is oxygen present in for aquatic animals? In the form of dissolved water. So, they should get it from the water. It is dissolved in the water, isn't it? They should get it. H2O, it is there. They should get it from the water. So, to get that oxygen from dissolved water, they should breathe more number of times. So, it is faster than what we are breathing on the land. In the land, freely it is available in the form of atmospheric oxygen. Isn't it? When you go out or anywhere, when you stay, you have atmospheric oxygen. While fish, they should get the oxygen from dissolved water. So, they breathe more number of times and their respiratory rate is faster than us. So, what is the question? Compare this to the number of times you breathe in and out in a minute. The amount of dissolved, this is the solution for that, the amount of dissolved oxygen is lower in water than that is available in the air. In the air it is more, in dissolved water it is less. So, the rate of breathing in fish is faster than that of terrestrial beings. Got it? Next, look at this picture. We'll discuss about this. Now you know about inhalation and exhalation. When you inhale, we'll see the complete passage or the respiratory system. We'll look into the complete respiratory system and what are the processes going on when we inhale and when we exhale. Now look at this picture. Is this picture visible? Is this visible? Now we take in through, we have pair of nostrils, isn't it? We take in through the nostrils and this is the nasal cavity. And through nasal cavity, the air enters through pharynx. Earlier I told you, pharynx is the junction for respiration as well as digestion. It is a junction. Through that pharynx and to esophagus, the food should go. To prevent this, to prevent the food passage into the respiratory system, that is into the lungs, there is one particular, what you can say, opening or this thing called epiglottis. This is epiglottis. You can observe this. And this is a slit-like thing present over here that is called glottis. When food enters like this epiglottis, it shuts. It closes so that food doesn't enter the respiratory system. Okay, this is epiglottis and this is glottis. Okay, now that is about the pharynx. After this, the air enters, that is for digestion. Already I have explained. Now the air enters from here to this larynx. Larynx is also called as sound box, you know that. And from here, so from larynx you have seen, this is trachea. And that trachea is bifurcated, that is divided to two, bifurcated into two. So one goes into the right lung and other goes into the left lung. See beta, right lung it has 3 lobes, left lung it has only 2 lobes. Why? It should accommodate heart, right? Left side you have heart. So it should accommodate heart. It has 2 lobes. It has 3 lobes. Here this is called primary bronchus. Primary bronchus. This one, this trachea, it has cartilaginous rings. These are the cartilaginous rings. Okay, gas enters like this. And it enters, this plural is, singular is bronchus, plural is bronchi. It enters these 2 bronchi. These 2 are primary. Now this primary is differentiated, again it is bifurcated to secondary bronchi. Secondary. Now the secondary again it gets bifurcated to tertiary. Tertiary, okay. This tertiary again it divides into numerous small tiny structures called bronchioles. Bronchioles, got it? Bronchioles. These bronchioles are further divided and here at the end of this bronchioles you have some air sac-like structures and these are called alveoli. Air sac-like structures and these are called alveoli. Alveoli or single, the cell membrane here it is single layered. It is single layered structure. It is called air sac or alveoli where the actual gaseous exchange takes place. Got it? This is in one lung. The same thing happens to the other lung too. But there are 2 lobes here, over there and here it has 3 lobes. Because it should accommodate heart in the left side. This is right side. Is it clear? Trachea. Next it is trachea is bifurcated into primary bronchus. Primary bronchus again further bifurcated into secondary bronchus. Secondary bronchus is again divided into tertiary bronchus. Tertiary bronchus to bronchioles. Bronchioles to air sac. Okay? Is this clear? So look at this figure. See, nasal passage, pharynx, through larynx, through trachea. Look at the cartilages here. These rings of cartilage, they are present in all the bronchi, bronchioles and everything. Why? To prevent air collapse. So that whatever air is passed in, it should not collapse it. So to prevent that, it is covered with the cartilageous rings. Okay. So the ultimate picture. Question was asked, figure was given, and question was asked, what is this figure? This is nothing, the end one, it is alveoli. The respiratory bronchioles are further, see, you can see the further they are divided, and at the end you have air sacs or alveoli. Okay, this is the rib cage or the thoracic cage. It will protect all the visceral organs in the body or protected by the bony structures, the skeletal frame, like brain. Our brain is protected by cranium, right? Our lungs are protected by the thoracic cage or rib cage. This is the thoracic, the ribs, isn't it? At the back it is vertebral column, isn't it? Below you have abdomen. Reproductory organs are protected by pelvic girdle, like that. Okay, so these are the ribs. Okay, this is the diaphragm. This is the diaphragm which bifurcates this respiratory system and this system with this abdomen. Got it? So the diaphragm is a muscle. Diaphragm is a muscle. So this alveoli, they are balloon-like structures. You can see that. Inflate, deflate, it will inflate and deflate so that the gaseous exchange takes place. When gas enters, it will inflate, and to expel out the air, it will deflate. Inflate, it is absorbing the gas, it is getting the gas inside, and deflate, that is, it is expelling out the gas. Again, it goes through this and carbon dioxide is expelled out. Got it? Okay. Look at this. This is the structure of alveoli, and alveoli is surrounded by the tuft of capillaries, different capillaries. Let me draw this to understand this capillaries. So, artery, you know, oh my god, artery is, again, this artery can be divided into, it is divided into arterioles, and these arterioles are further divided into capillaries. Got it? Okay, well, I'll discuss this when I discuss circulation. You need not worry. This is about artery. Now coming to here, it is the main vein. Okay, arteries carry oxygenated blood. These carry deoxygenated blood. Vein, it is further divided into venules. Call them venules, and these venules are further divided into capillaries. Look at this capillaries and this capillaries, oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. This is how the exchange happens. Okay, now these are the capillaries. This junction, this is the capillaries here. This is the capillary. Got it? Now this is alveoli. So this is one alveolus. This is one singular one. This is single layered. You can see this red chain like one. This is single layered, and you can look here. This is the capillary. It is also single layered. It is not double. It is also single layered. Okay. Now oxygen is entering inside. Okay. This oxygen is diffused into the capillaries. So the capillaries consist of blood, which is the main element, or what you can say, pigment, which carries oxygen. It is hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is considered as respiratory pigment. Hemoglobin is considered as respiratory pigment. Why hemoglobin carries only oxygen? Why not carbon dioxide? This might be a question. Okay, hemoglobin has more affinity and more affection ankondi, more affinity to oxygen. It has more affinity to oxygen, so that it directly reacts with oxygen. Hemoglobin has two parts. Heme is the iron part and globin is the protein part. That heme, it combines with oxygen and it forms oxyhemoglobin. So this hemoglobin present in the blood, where is that present? Hemoglobin is present in which blood corpuscles or blood cells? RBC. Yes, that is red color pigment or respiratory pigment. It is present in RBC. It has strong affinity to oxygen and it forms oxyhemoglobin. Why not carbon dioxide? Carbon dioxide, mostly it is transported in the form of dissolved state. Okay, it is transported in dissolved state. Carboxyhemoglobin is very less. It is very less. Formation of carboxyhemoglobin is very less because it is in the form of dissolved state. Carbon dioxide of a solution state lone potundi. Okay, but oxygen, it has strong affinity. Directly it will react with the present in hemoglobin and it forms oxyhemoglobin, and that is transported to different parts. This is at alveolar level. Got it? So exchange of oxygen, it enters from nasal, from the nostrils to nasal passage to trachea to primary bronchus and secondary bronchi and tertiary bronchi, bronchioles and to alveoli, and from there it is diffused into the blood. Okay, this is carried. Got it? In the same way, from the blood, from different tissues, the carbon dioxide is given out and it enters into the blood, and from capillaries it is diffused out through alveoli to different parts again. Got it? This is the gaseous exchange at alveolar level. This is at alveolar level. You can look at the picture. This is at alveolar level. This is the alveoli or air sac. This is the capillary. Okay. Now at the tissue level, and this is the capillary. At the tissue level, as these blood vessels are carrying the oxygen, they give off oxygen to these tissues. You can see this intercellular or interstitial spaces. Interstitial, that is present between the tissues. You can call that interstitial, that is between the tissues. Interstitial spaces, the oxygen is from the capillaries, it is diffused. And from after the activity, the expelled byproduct is carbon dioxide, that is expelled to or discarded and it enters the capillaries, and from capillaries it is going to alveoli, and from there through our nose we breathe out. So this is at tissue level and that is at alveolar level. Is it clear? Is it clear? Look at this. This are the blood cells. You can see this too. Is it clear? So, I told you, hemoglobin, it has more affinity, that I explained. When we breathe in and breathe out, after you take in deep breaths and deep breathe in and breathe out, when you have forceful expiration, breathe out forcefully. Do you think that in the entire lung there is no air at all? No air at all. What will happen? For example, you blow in air into a balloon. You deflate it completely. What is going to happen? The balloon is shrunken, isn't it? It doesn't have any shape. The same thing happens to lungs too. When completely it is deflated, the lung will collapse. To prevent this, some amount of air is present in the lung that we call as residual volume. That is called residual volume. To prevent the collapse of lungs and also to give some time for the exchange to occur. Some amount of air is present in the lungs, and that is called residual volume. Remember this, residual volume. That is, I have explained the topic of respiration. If you have any doubts, comment below. Important questions. Only transpiration in human beings I am going to discuss better because you don't have time now. In the form of important questions, when I give important questions, the rest of the topics, everything I am going to give in the next part. Okay, only the transportation, that is circulation, I am going to explain now. Okay. Now coming to transportation, after this everything it happens, nutrition you have seen, then you have seen respiration. So all this energy or gases, whatever they are given out, energy, it is given out in the form of, you can see, when food is given, food is taken, it is absorbed, and assimilation process, energy is absorbed, and all this, or oxygen is given through respiration. This should be sent to different parts of the body, right? Yes, through one system, that is transportation. In human beings or living or higher organisms, it is called circulation. Circulation, which is the main organ which is able to pump out this blood. First of all, what is blood? What is blood? Blood is a fluid, isn't it? Oh, maybe I missed that slide. Maybe I missed that slide, but I'll explain it. Blood is a fluid, that is a connective tissue which is responsible for transport of the nutrients or gases from one part of the body to other. So mainly the blood is the pumping organ, the muscle which is responsible to pump out this blood to different parts of the body is heart. Heart. Cardiac muscle is special, you know. You have smooth muscles, you have striated muscles, and cardiac muscle is special. It has mixed. You know that. You have learned in your 9th class with that. So, blood, I told, it is a connective tissue. If you take 100 ml of blood, 55% of blood is made up of plasma. 55% of blood is made up of plasma. Rest of the 45%, it is about the cells. Corpuscles, okay, RBC, that is called red blood cells. I'll take a minute to explain this. So, 55% of the blood is plasma. 45% it is blood cells, RBC, WBC, and platelets. RBC or small biconcave, they are biconcave and disc-like structures. You can observe like this, it will be like this. Biconcave and disc-like, and they are enucleated, that is, it doesn't have nucleus, enucleated. Why they are enucleated? RBC are red blood cells or corpuscles. They are biconcave, disc-like, and they are enucleated, and they contain a pigment called hemoglobin. They contain a pigment called hemoglobin, which is a respiratory pigment. As it is red in color, this gives RBC red. So this red blood cells are red in color. These are prepared in bone marrow. Okay, they are produced in bone marrow. Why it is disc-like and why it is enucleated? Why nucleus is not present? To accommodate more oxygen. Oxygen manaku transport chesedi, just now we have discussed, hemoglobin has more affinity to oxygen. To transport that oxygen, it should accommodate this. So for that purpose, nucleus is absent, and also it provides this to increase the surface area. It is biconcave. and the lifespan of it is 120 days. And when it is the production nundi death varaku it is 120 days. This is discarded or in the spleen, okay, in spleen and liver. Okay, this is about RBC. RBC is important because it is helpful in transportation of oxygen. Now coming to, these are also called as erythrocytes. These are called leukocytes. Leukocytes, WBC, or white blood cells. As they don't have hemoglobin, they are colorless. They don't have hemoglobin, they are colorless. They are either circular or irregular shape, and they have amoeboid movement. And these help in immunity. They are very essential. Anything which attacks, any antigen enters, they will produce antibodies which will kill the antigens. They help in immunity. Okay, they remove this through phagocytosis, through the process of phagocytosis. Platelets, compared to these two, platelets are smaller one, they are round. The main function of platelets is they help in blood clotting. They help in blood clotting through the formation of thrombin. You can observe whenever you have a wound, a mesh-like thing is formed on your wound. Bruise ainappudu gaani emana debba takinappudu bruise we call. ఒకసారి బ్లీడింగ్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత మెష్ లైక్ థింగ్ కొంచెం ఫామ్ అవుతుంది కదా, దట్ ఈస్ థ్రాంబిన్. సో ఆ క్లాటింగ్ కి, ఆ బ్లడ్ ఇంకా ఎక్కువ బ్లీడ్ అవ్వకుండా ఉండడానికి, టు ప్రివెంట్ దట్ ఎక్సెస్ బ్లీడింగ్, దిస్ ప్లేట్లెట్స్ ఆర్ హెల్ప్ఫుల్ ఇన్ బ్లడ్ క్లాటింగ్. ఓకే, ఆ బ్లడ్ క్లాట్ అయిపోతుంది అన్నమాట. ఓకే, సో దీస్ ఆర్ ద ప్లేట్లెట్స్. దిస్ ఈస్ అబౌట్ బ్లడ్. Coming to heart, this is called cardiac muscle. It is the organ which pumps out blood. Okay, now before going to this, let me explain about this blood vessels. Arteries and veins. Remember this. In your school, in your childhood times, you might have learnt about, they call it pure blood or impure blood. You shouldn't call like that, beta. It is oxygenated blood. That is blood which carries the oxygen, and deoxygenated blood which is devoid of oxygen. Okay, so that is called oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Now the difference is, because you get a confusion in pulmonary arteries and pulmonary veins, that is the reason I am saying this. A blood vessel which carries blood from the heart to all parts of the body. Just remember, artery from heart to any part of the body, that is artery. Vein is to heart. A blood vessel which carries blood to the heart. Because if I say this carries oxygenated blood, this carries deoxygenated blood, you will get confusion in pulmonary arteries and pulmonary veins. So I am telling you this. You just remember, artery, a blood vessel which carries blood from the heart to all parts of the body. Generally, heart నుండి all parts of the body కి ఏ blood కావాలి బెటా? Oxygenated energy కావాలి కాబట్టి it is oxygenated blood, isn't it? మళ్ళీ మనకు ప్యూరిఫికేషన్ బ్లడ్ అదంతా కావాలి అంటే ఏంటి? అదర్ పార్ట్స్ ఆఫ్ ద బాడీ టు హార్ట్ ఏది పోవాలి? డిఆక్సిజనేటెడ్ బ్లడ్ కదా, అది త్రూ వెయిన్స్. కానీ ఇక్కడ కన్ఫ్యూషన్ వస్తుందని ఐఎమ్ టెలింగ్ దిస్ యూ అండర్స్టాండ్. సో దిస్ ఇస్ ఆర్టరీ అండ్ దిస్ ఇస్ వెయిన్. Okay, now what is going to happen? From all parts of the body, from lower limb first, we'll take from lower limb. Before going to arteries and all this, let me explain the 4 chambers of heart first of all. We have 4 chambers. We have 4-chambered heart. Human beings have 4-chambered heart. First, it is atrium, ventricle. The above one are atria. Atrium, ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. Why we have division 2? There are valves present over here to prevent the mixing of the blood, to prevent mixing of deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood. Right side anta it is deoxygenated blood, left side anta it is oxygenated blood. Ante right side will receive the blood, left side will give out the blood. Okay, is it clear beta? Right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. These are divided again, these two are controlled by valves, so that they a contraction jarginappudu emothundi, relaxation jarginappudu emothundi, I'll explain it. So that the mixing of blood doesn't occur. Got it? So heart is a shape, size of fist size lo untundi heart. Okay. So coming to this, from all parts of the body, from lower limb, all veins will collect the deoxygenated blood, and all these veins, they form a big vein that is called inferior vena cava. This is from lower limb. From head, neck and upper limbs, from these parts, all the deoxygenated blood is collected by different veins, and it forms a big vein that is called superior vena cava. Superior vena cava. So these two are the largest veins. These carry blood from different parts of the body to heart. So vena cava from the upper body, that is called superior vena cava, and vena cava from lower body, that is called inferior vena cava. Okay, so this one. See, this is entering right atrium. This is entering right atrium. This right atrium and left atrium, they are divided by a valve called tricuspid valve. It has 3 cusps. Opening leaf-like things, 3 cusps. This is called tricuspid valve. Now this enters into the right ventricle. It enters to the right ventricle. From this right ventricle, this goes to the lungs for purification. That is gaseous exchange. Capillaries, all that I have shown, right? It goes into the lungs through 2 pairs of pulmonary artery. One artery goes to left lung, one artery goes to right lung. You can observe this. Right ventricle going through, this is the valve again here. This is pulmonary valve. And here it goes to right pulmonary artery and to lungs for gaseous exchange. There this deoxygenated blood, carbon dioxide, is given out and it gets oxygen from the lungs. Okay, and the same thing happens to left, and from there the oxygenated blood, the arteries from there this is carried, the oxygenated blood is carried towards the heart. I told you, to the heart, from different part to the heart, it is always veins. So it is pulmonary. Pulmonary is a term used for lungs. Pulmonary is a term. Pulmonary effusion, pulmonary disease, anything related to lungs, it is called pulmonary. So pulmonary, four pairs of two from here and two from here, totally two pairs, that is four totally. Two from right side and two from left side. Four pulmonary veins, they collect oxygenated blood, and this blood enters left atrium. This left atrium, it enters into the left ventricle, and these two are separated by mitral wall or bicuspid wall. Bicuspid or mitral wall. Okay, bicuspid wall. This is left ventricle. From left ventricle, you can observe the arrow here. This is aortic wall. It goes into this largest artery, that is called aorta. The largest artery, it is called aorta. Aorta. You can see from left ventricle, this is called ascending aorta, and this is arch of aorta, and from aorta it goes into head and neck, this part, head and neck, these arteries, and this is called descending aorta, from where different branches of arteries arise. They give to different parts of the body. This is how the circulation of blood happens. Okay. Now, first when this enters into right atrium, this is closed so that the entire right atrium is filled. Okay. That is, it contracts. Okay. Now, when this should be pumped into right ventricle, this should contract and it will relax. This will relax, so that entire blood enters into right ventricle. After this should contract so that this goes into the primary arteries. Okay. Now, when the blood, oxygenated blood enters into this will relax, so that entire the oxygenated blood is filled in this. Now this enters through this bicuspid valve, and now this should relax. Left ventricle will relax so that the entire oxygenated blood is pumped into it, and this will contract so that a gush of blood, it goes into this. This is ascending aorta, this is arch of aorta, and here comes the descending aorta. This is how the circulation process occurs. I think I am clear. This is the septa, this is the septum which divides these two, because mixing of this oxygenated and deoxygenated blood shouldn't occur. So this is the septa. These are called Purkinje fibers. This is about, there is a pacemaker, SA node. All this you don't require as of now. As of now, you are just learning the transportation process. SA node and Purkinje fibers, bundle of His and all that you don't require now. So this is the interseptal wall. This is called interseptal wall, which doesn't allow for the mixing of it, prevents the mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. What is the purpose of valve? Valve will prevent the backward flow of blood. So, ఇప్పుడు ఒక క్వశ్చన్ అడుగుతాను. ఆర్టరీస్, వెయిన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఇది హార్ట్ బెటా. యు నో అబౌట్ హార్ట్ కి ఇక్కడ వాల్వ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. బికాస్ ఒక్కసారి రైట్ ఏట్రియం లో నుండి రైట్ వెంట్రికల్ కు వచ్చిందంటే ఇది క్లోజ్ కావాలి. టు ప్రివెంట్ బ్యాక్వర్డ్ ఫ్లో ఆఫ్ బ్లడ్, మళ్ళీ వెనక్కి వెళ్ళిపోకూడదు కదా. సో ఇక్కడ నుండి ఇక్కడికి వెళ్ళేటప్పుడు, ఇదంతా వెళ్ళేటప్పుడు మళ్ళీ ఇదంతా వెళ్ళిపోయిన తర్వాత ఇది క్లోజ్ కావాలి. Yes, the same thing happens to everywhere, so that it doesn't let backward flow of blood, మళ్ళీ వెనక్కి వెళ్ళిపోకుండా. ఇప్పుడు ఆర్టరీస్ లో, వెయిన్స్ లో, వెయిట్ లో వాల్వ్స్ ఉంటాయి. థింక్, వెయిట్ లో వాల్వ్స్ ఉంటాయి. థింక్ Arteries కి ఎలా పోతుంది blood? From heart to different parts of the body. Veins కి ఎలా పోతుంది blood? From different parts of the body to heart పోతుంది. ఏది towards gravity, ఏది against gravity? Yes. Arteries కి valves అక్కర్లేదు, అవునా? అది ఎందుకంటే ఇచ్చేస్తుంది అన్నిటికీ. ఇది వెనక్కి వెళ్తుంది కదా, పైకి వెళ్ళిపోవాలి, హార్ట్కి వెళ్ళిపోవాలి, వెనక్కి వెళ్ళిపోవాలి, isn't it? It should reach the heart. Definitely it requires valves to prevent backward flow of blood. Okay, that is one difference. Now coming to the already I told you, coming to the arteries have thick valves. ఎందుకు? దే ఆర్ క్యారింగ్ ఆక్సిజనేటెడ్ బ్లడ్ అండ్ ప్రెషర్తో, హై ప్రెషర్తో ఉంటుంది. ఆ ప్రెషర్తో వచ్చేటప్పుడు ఆ వాల్వ్స్ అనేవి ఆ ప్రెషర్ని తట్టుకోవాలి. దే షుడ్ హోల్డ్ దాట్ ప్రెషర్, isn't it? They should tolerate that pressure. So for this reason these have thick valves and the lumen, ఇలా బ్లడ్ వెసల్ ఉంటే దిస్ ఈజ్ ద థిక్ వాల్డ్ wall, not valve, walled, thick wall. Artery has thick walled artery, and the lumen, ఈ central on the this lumen is narrow. Obviously wall thick ఉన్నప్పుడు narrow lumen ఉంటుంది. Coming to veins, these are thin walled and lumen is broader. Lumen ఇక్కడ చెక్ చేయండి, ఇది vein, this is artery. Got it? That is one difference. Valves, I told you, they prevent backward flow of blood. No valve pressure, and also arteries have thick walls and narrow lumen and elastic walls and no valves. I told you, no valves, because backward flow is not necessary. They should flow towards the gravity, right? Backward flow ne jaragadu. Veins lo backward flow untundi kabatti definitely they should have valves over there. Okay, and ventricles have thicker muscular walls than atria, because why? Can you guess why they have thicker walls than atria? You can observe over here, దీనికి thick గా ఉన్నాయి walls, దీనికి atria తో పోలిస్తే. Why? Because they should pump blood to entire body. Okay, that is the reason they have thicker walls, muscular walls. Now coming to, this is a flow chart how this thing happened. Already I have explained. See, it starts from oxygenated blood. We take oxygenated blood. Don't consider, because leave this one. From right atrium to right ventricle to pulmonary artery, because it is going from the heart to lungs. Pulmonary artery to lungs, where the gaseous exchange takes place at the alveolar level. Carbon dioxide is discarded and oxygen is taken in, and through pulmonary veins. 4 pulmonary veins. Here these are 2 pulmonary arteries, but here there are 4 pulmonary veins. Two pair ikkada, 1 pair ikkada, 1 pair ikkada. Left right, 4 pulmonary veins, and through left atrium to left ventricle to I think this is wrong. Oh, sorry, this is given wrong, beta. It should be aorta over here. It is aorta. Here it should be vena cava. This is given wrong. Let me correct it. This is vena cava. Superior vena cava, inferior vena cava. And this is, here it is aorta. Aorta to rest of the body. So superior vena cava, inferior vena cava to right atrium, right ventricle, pulmonary artery, lungs, pulmonary veins, left atrium, left ventricle, aorta, and rest of the body. Okay, here right atrium and right ventricle, you have What is a valve? Tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve, which will prevent the backward flow from right ventricle to right atrium. One valve. From right ventricle to pulmonary artery, which is a valve? Pulmonary valve. Pulmonary valve. So to lungs, and from lungs to pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein to left atrium. Left atrium to left ventricle, mitral valve or bicuspid valve. And from here to aorta, aortic valve. And the rest of the body. This completes transportation. This completes circulation in human body. Now coming to BP. Yeah, this I need to say. I forgot. We'll discuss about this first and later we'll move on to this. I'm sorry. We'll discuss about the blood pressure. What is blood pressure? Yes, you know, everybody speaks about high BP, low BP. Yes. What is blood pressure? You know, this is artery. Artery is thick valved. It has narrow lumen. It has pressure in it. Blood is going with some pressure, isn't it? Oxygenated blood. It is going it has some pressure. The force exerted against the walls of this blood vessel. The force exerted on the walls of the blood vessels is called blood pressure. Simple. What is blood pressure? The blood, it goes with some pressure because it is oxygenated blood. It has some pressure in it. This is narrow lumen again. This is narrow lumen. Ee narrow lumen dwara neeku blood vellali. Okay, which is again oxygenated blood, and this exerts some force on this walls of the blood vessels. This is called blood pressure. It is greater in arteries because in arteries it has high pressure oxygenated blood gavati than in veins. Okay. The pressure of blood inside the artery during ventricular systole. Ventricular already you have seen. Contraction. When ventricle contracts, it pumps out to different parts, isn't it? Left ventricle and it contracts. It pumps out to different parts of the body. That is ventricular contraction. That is called systolic pressure. The pressure of blood inside the artery when ventricle under force that is called systolic pressure. The pressure in the artery during ventricular diastole relax avutundi. Ventricle relaxes, I told you, so that the blood is filled into the ventricle. That is called diastolic pressure. Systole contraction, diastole relaxation. Ventricular contraction, ventricular contraction, so that it should pump to different parts of the body. This is called systole. Ventricular relaxation, so that it should receive from blood from atria. That is called diastole. Generally, BP, blood pressure, is measured through a instrument called sphygmomanometer. Mano means the term is used for mercury. Sphygmomanometer, BP apparatus. You can check this. You know how it is measured. That is measured in, this is 120 mm of Hg. Hg is mercury. And this is 80. Normally, this is the BP of Hg. This is written as 120/80. This is normal blood pressure. Mm of Hg is mercury. Manometer, mano means I told you mercury. This is how it is measured. Ventricular systole, when ventricle is contracted so that it receives all the, when it contracts, it should give blood to all parts of the body. When it relaxes, it receives the blood. So blood fills in the ventricle, that is diastole. So systole and diastole. So the pressure of the blood inside the artery during the ventricular systole, that is called the systolic pressure, and the pressure in the artery during ventricular diastole, that is relaxation, that is called diastolic pressure. And the normal systolic pressure is 120 mm of Hg and diastolic pressure is 80 mm of Hg. I told you that is measured by sphygmomanometer. High blood pressure, when it is beyond, when it is 180/100, like that, it is more than 150 it is more than 150 systolic, and it is more than 100 in diastolic. It is considered as hypertension or high blood pressure. What is going to happen in high blood pressure? What has happened if more pressure, it pumps out with more pressure? What will happen to the arterial level? Arterial. What will happen? Yes, it may burst out. It may burst out. In brain, sometimes you may listen to the word called stroke. Stroke and a heart stroke, brain low stroke. What will happen? Due to high blood pressure, there in the brain, it may burst out and it may lead to bleed. It may lead to hemorrhage there. Hemorrhage ante bleeding, akkada bleed avutadi. Appudu em avutadi, that part doesn't receive enough amount of blood supply. So aa part supply chese nerves anni they stop working. That leads to paralysis. That is a different issue. Okay, so what will happen? It causes constriction and narrowing, constriction of arterioles. It may release in increasing resistance of blood and also leads to rupture and internal bleeding, that is hemorrhage. Okay, this is about transportation. Okay, beta, all this I have explained. And one thing, cilia, lungs, or they are covered with this alveoli, and that it is covered with cilia. When people smoke too much of smoking, what will that lead to? This is filled with that nicotine and all that chemicals, and those don't work properly. That is the reason the mucus and all that which works as a lubrication over there, that doesn't work properly. So the people need to cough, so that is whatever it is included in that, it leads to congestion that comes out. That is given as an application, or that is called applied science. That is given as a case study. That I'll discuss such things. I'll discuss like heart attack or cardiac arrest and all that. I'll discuss in important questions. So I will share a video about these important questions prior to your one day before your examination or after your physical science. I may give this important questions. Follow this channel, subscribe the channel and like the channel, share to your friends. Okay children, all the best.